Welcome to the Gen Z Marketer podcast, where we have marketing conversations and everything in between. In this MarkeTrends episode, let's talk about Save Ralph, one of the latest trending campaigns this past week. So, why did this campaign go viral? How did this impact audiences? Before we do that deep dive on this campaign, let's talk about it first. What exactly is the Save Ralph campaign? So the Save Ralph campaign is almost like a mockumentary style or documentary style campaign or video on Ralph. So Ralph is a rabbit who works in a laboratory that tests on animals. And the campaign was launched by the Humane Society International Organization, and it was shot or filmed through stop motion animation, and Ralph was actually voiced by Taika Waititi. So the campaign also showed us that most countries still allow animal testing, which includes the Philippines, and it actually went viral worldwide and has been translated in several languages already. And the key idea or the main message of this campaign is that no animal should suffer and die in the name of beauty. So why did this campaign work? So first is because it had compelling narrative. It had a really engaging and creative storytelling. So it really showed Ralph's story and what animals go through on laboratories. So you could see in the video how Ralph shared how he is meant to live a life as a tester for humans. The video exactly showed us what Ralph and animals go through in testing in an ironic, casual, and empathetic way. So the reason why this also worked is because of how emotional it was. The animation really showed Ralph's face expressions as he narrates his story and goes through animal testing. You could see him shed a tear, be sad and upset, and kind of like resigned to accept that this is the way his life is. This is the way he is meant to live his life. So a scene in the video actually shows other rabbits who asked Ralph to ask those filming him to get them out of the laboratories due to the pain they go through and the fear of dying. That 5-second clip on the video was really tugging the heartstrings of most people, I think, because it really showed you how desperate those rabbits were to get out of that situation. They don't want to be in that situation. They don't want to test for humans because of how painful it was, but they have no choice because they are stuck or meant to live a life as a tester. So this campaign also worked because it was very visual through stop motion. Director Spence Susser actually shared that the reason why they went with stop motion and animation is because it is a way to make Ralph real, even though he is an inanimate object. So in a way, you feel or you could see that he is somewhat real because his story is real. This is something that animals go through. And doing stop motion animation makes audiences more empathetic in his story and feel how real the story is, that this is really happening, this is really what these animals are going through on a day-to-day basis. The campaign also worked because it was also very educational. In Ralph's narrative, as he was narrating his story, audiences are educated about what happens in laboratories that tests on animals. So they learn how animal testing is done for cosmetics, skincare, and other home products. They see the effects of testing on animals such as blindness, deafness, injuries, and death. And they also learn how rabbits like Ralph are trapped in this endless cycle of animal testing as their families are born into it. So they're really going through this because they have no choice. So I'd just like to also share some of my personal thoughts or how I reacted to this campaign. So one of the things that I really first acknowledged or realized when I saw this campaign is how powerful storytelling is. So as marketers, as brand strategists, as advertisers or communicators, this is something that we always know and we need to exercise or practice every time we're creating something, is we always have to tell a story. And these stories are something that audiences should relate to. To have really an effective campaign, a successful campaign, you really need to tell a story that audiences will respond to. And actually, every time I see this video, every time I see Ralph's video, I react as if I'm seeing it for the first time. So I always feel, heartbroken, upset. I will always shed a tear every time, even though I've seen this video several times already. And I think what also made me respond to this campaign is because it's a personal advocacy of mine. I actually have been only using cruelty-free products for skincare and makeup for the past few years. And I think my first introduction to animal testing would be when I've seen Legally Blonde 2 as a kid. The premise of the film is really about Elle fighting to make animal testing for cosmetics illegal. That really was such a nice narrative, and that's how I actually first saw the idea or first saw that animal testing is a thing. And now as I've grown up, I'm actually practicing it, and this campaign is just really reinforcing that idea and really reminding people that, hey, this is still happening and we need to do something about it. So if you haven't seen the Save Ralph campaign, do check it out at hsi.org/SaveRalph. So the link is on the description. You can check out the video, the campaign, and you can also sign the petition to have companies and countries take action to stop animal testing. So thank you for listening to this episode. Don't forget to follow the podcast to get notified on the latest uploads. So let me know in my socials at the Gen Z Marketer on Facebook, at GenZMKT on Instagram, and at www.genzmkt.com. If you like this episode, if you have other campaigns that you would want me to check out, and just really leave a message there to share your thoughts on the podcast and if you want to collaborate.